Welcome to World War Podcast, giving you your weekly dose of war. Today's guest is Jack again to talk about German weaponry. Jack, can you give us a brief description of what you're going to go over?
So yeah, I can. Today's episode is just going to be about German small arms. It's going to be a brief description, not as in-depth as we went last time. So first, the K98, it was a bolt-action rifle system, and it was highly accurate. It was in caliber 7.92 by 57, and the capacity was 5+1, meaning, of course, 1 in the chamber. The effective firing range was around 550 yards, and as I said, it's extremely accurate. Next up is the Sturmgewehr 44. This is the first of what certain people like to call assault rifles. The term doesn't exist. It's an intermediate cartridge between a full rifle cartridge and a pistol cartridge. The barrel length was around 16 inches, and it wasn't meant to be highly accurate. It was meant to put a lot of high-velocity rounds downrange. The caliber was 8mm Kurz. The rate of fire was around 550 rounds per minute, and the range was around 300 yards in full auto. So the Germans actually had two pistols, the P38 and the Luger P08. For the P38, the barrel was 4.9 inches, and the Luger P08, it was 3.9 inches. The Luger, that's just the short Luger. Luger had many different variations, but I'm not going to go into them. You'll fall asleep. For caliber, they were both in 9mm Parabellum, and they both had 8+1 rounds capacity, and they were both around 55 yards. These were issued to anyone that couldn't carry a full-length rifle, and at the time, carbines weren't fully developed yet. So the next up is the Fallschirmjäger 42, and this was designed as a specialty rifle specifically for the German Fallschirmjäger divisions, meaning it was their paratrooper divisions. This was meant to be either a rifle or a machine gun. And the barrel length on this was around 20.9 inches. It's in the same full length, 7.92 by 57mm, and the capacity was only 20 rounds on this, so it wasn't a full machine gun. It was more of a light machine gun. Your effective range was around 600 yards, so it could still reach out and touch the Americans. And the rate of fire was around 750 to 900 rounds per minute, depending on your model that you're using. And next up are the two German machine guns, the MG42 and the German MG34. The MG42 had a barrel length of around 20.9 inches. However, this depended strictly on who was manufacturing it, because people made errors. The MG42 was also known as Hitler's buzzsaw because it fired at around 15 to 1,200 rounds per minute. So it shoots really, really fast. It was around 50 rounds. If you see that, the pictures in the movies of that drum magazine on the side, that only had 50 rounds. And the MG34 was slower firing, around 800 rounds per minute. So still really fast, and they both had a range of 2,000 meters, so they could really get out and touch them. And then we have the MP40, which was their standard issue submachine gun. It was a 9mm, barrel length of around 10 inches, so not quite a foot. Capacity was 32 rounds, fired off of box magazines. And it was slow firing at 550 rounds per minute, so it was really controllable, and it could go up to 200 meters, which is really an incredible range for submachine guns at the time. And then we have the K98 with the optic. So it's the same as the normal carbine or 98 course, but it would have a 4x optic. So it's what today we'd consider as a marksman scope, but it extended the range by 500 yards, bringing your effective range to around 1,000 yards, and that's pretty good at the time. Next is the G43, and this was one of the German development weapons. They were trying to match the M1 Garand because they were on bolt-action rifle systems still. So it had a barrel length of 21.5, and it was still experimental, so it wasn't fielded in large numbers, but where it was extremely accurate and did its job well. The standard capacity was 10 rounds, but 20 was rare. As it was in development, there was weird things going on here.
So, Jack, what do you think was the most popular used gun that the Germans had?
Well, the most just in masses would be the K98, just because that was the standard rifle. Millions were given out to soldiers.
But do you think it was the best one that was given out?
Well, it depends on what you mean by best. What do you mean by that?
I mean the most effective. Like, I know there's different scenarios, but like overall, in just a normal scenario, what do you think would have been the best gun?
Well, it would really depend on what kind of engagement you were in. If you were in long range, the K98 would suit you extremely well.
Just like a close range engagement. Not like close, but like a medium.
If you're in a medium range engagement, what you really want is the FG42 because it can go between semi-automatic and that light machine gun. The STG44, it can do everything, or the G43 because it can pump out a lot of accurate fire because it's semi-automatic.
And I think I heard you earlier say one that pumped out 1,500 rounds per minute. Is that true?
That is true. It's called the Hitler's Buzzsaw, the MG42. It was extremely fast. It was an ammo guzzler, too. Unlike the American squads, they actually had to add an extra person just to carry all the ammo. So instead of, I believe it was...
We'll be right back. Now that we're back from fixing our technical difficulties, now it's a time to request Gorilla Tape. Please sponsor us. Our tape is very inadequate. God. Like I said, our tape is very inadequate. So Gorilla Tape, if you would like to sponsor us, that would be a very big help. And again, I thank you guys for watching. We're going to do a quick recommendation.
So, I suggest that all of you watch or read that it's made into a book, Band of Brothers. It was a really good movie about the paratroopers of 101st Airborne 506th Easy Company, and it was a very great movie. At least that's what the book was about. I don't know if that's the part of the division the movie was about, but it was really good. It gave a good first-hand account of what it was actually like, and very few movies can do that, so go watch it. It's called Band of Brothers.
Thank you, Jack. And again, I hope you guys all enjoyed the episode. If you have any recommendations, you can put it in the comments. Next episode is going to be about Dunkirk. The episode following that is going to be the really big one. Highly suggest you tune in.
Dunkirk won't be as much about weapons, but we will have a little bit in there, just a background, though.
Yeah, we will. And I hope you guys really enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next episode.